So it says how to help son entering 11th grade to begin to focus on strengths or mini wins as of a school year starting on August 7th. His mindset is that he is a failure at school. Love it. I'll tell you why in a moment. His executive function and learning disability issues really impact his desire slash ability to engage. Yes. How can I help flip it? Awesome. So, how to help son entering 11th grade, so 16, 17 years old, to begin to focus on their strengths or their mini wins as the school year starts. So, I think that's a really, I'll start right there. First of all, I talk about micro successes, is the term I use, that it's so important to notice what somebody's doing, quote, right. These kids oftentimes will hear, as Karen Tui Boy says, about 20 to 40 negatives for every one perceived positive. And when I'm working with students, I literally will notice like anything. Actually, here's something earlier that I was thinking that is a actual compliment. That's a micro success compliment. And it's, Yulia, love your new mic and your new mic setup. You know, I noticed that Yulia like upped her mic game. And so that's like a little comment, you know, but that's a sincere thing that I noticed earlier, that Yulia is not a kid. But if it was a kid, I'd be really focusing on any type, like that's a real thing that I noticed. Like I really focus on any little thing. So really seeing a lot, call it the 3-to-1 rule, but just a lot of the wins, the strengths that you're talking about, and reflecting them to your child. Now, when I'm reflecting them to the child, I call them pebble comments, because it's like you're tossing a pebble. I'm not waiting for a response. And especially as a parent, you know, your relationship with your kid, oftentimes they just don't hear your wisdom as easily as they do other adults in their lives, right? So to say, the pebbles of positivity, these little things, just say, hey Julia, awesome, I see you got a new mic. Anyhow, blah blah. Just you're just tossing out these little things. You're not waiting for a response. You want to let it just sort of linger, and lots and lots and lots of those. So I find that working with kids, I do a lot of that. I want them to feel seen. Sometimes you'll see them light up. Sometimes you'll see them just kind of take it in for a moment. But that is so important because they hear so much negativity. So that's a very big part of flipping it, in my opinion. Now, his mindset that he is a failure at school, my mindset was lazy failure. Those were my two biggest inner critic words as a young person. I am a lazy failure. There were other inner critic words. Nothing I do is good enough. I can't do anything right. I always mess everything up. Those were pretty common in my brain. But lazy failure was my main inner critic voice. So to know that his mindset feeling like a failure at school does not have to stay that way. That mindsets do change. Now, thinking about the brain, if whatever that squeaky sound is, if whoever's doing that, if they can mute that. So let's see, the mindset, you know, if you think about the I'm a failure mindset, like the brain, the neurons in the brain have these pathways that he has been practicing for a long time. So they don't just vanish, and they have to be replaced. You don't just stop having that mindset. You have to start replacing the mindset. So, and that starts, you know, partially with the pebbles of positivity, partially with people who he'll receive the wisdom. So that may or may not be you, but when you're having conversations and he is receptive to, you know, talk about mindset at that time, those times, but also to plant the seed with teachers sort of privately. Hey, please don't tell my kid this. But when you get moments, can you please help my kid with their mindset that they're a failure at school and help them see where they're being successful? The idea that I'm a failure is very black and white. I am either a failure or a success. So I'm just going to go with, no, it's all gray. Or there are parts where we might be failing, parts where we might be succeeding. So to help them see those micro successes, those success areas more and more, but also to get teachers, cool teachers, that aunts, uncles, relatives, cousins, friends of the family, whatever, people that your child, that are good people in your child's life, and telling them, can you please help my kids see how awesome they are? So doing that. And definitely advocating for your child. So to me, I talk a lot about how the technique of doing this, but essentially, emailing the teachers multiple times throughout the semester saying, hey, quick note, let me tell you 3 things that work with my kid, 3 things that don't. Boom, boom, boom. You can delete this email now. Thanks for everything you do. A really positive email to the teachers, that teachers have a lot going on. They have a lot of students. They may be reading 5 or 10, or high school teachers, they may have 100, 150 students every week. They may not know your child's name for a month or so. So to, ping them every once in a while, hey, not trying to bug you. I'm going to send the exact email I sent recently. 3 things that help my kid are this, this, and this. Thanks for everything you do. But if they have 150 kids and they have, like, let's say 20 or 30 IEPs and 504s that they're supposed to be reading and learning about these kids, like, it's hard for them. Make it easy for the teachers to help your kid, just with quick, bulleted, not paragraph, bulleted emails that they can use. So, and then when you do have the heart to hearts and your child is receptive, to really, really caution yourself to not be giving advice and trying to use logic and reason to convince them why they're so awesome, but to really hold space for them and be really curious about, wow, why do you think that about yourself? Wow, how true is that? Wow, that's really interesting. Wow, what are you going to do about that mindset? Wow, how can I help you? To not try to save and rescue all the time, because often that backfires and it doesn't land. And if it's not landing, it's time to probably stop or change the convo. So those are my initial thoughts on that one.